Hey everybody, this is Beth Durinsky from Odyssey Insurance and Investments, and you're listening to the podcast, Real Insurance Made Simple. As a working mom of young kids and a small business owner, I know firsthand life happens. So come along with me and learn how your insurance policies work when real life happens and you need them most. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Real Insurance Made Simple. We are still in the business mini series, and this week we are going to hit on the commercial umbrella policy. So let's just jump right in. What is a commercial umbrella? It is a separate policy altogether that gives you additional limits of liability. The most common or the minimum additional, I wouldn't even say the most common, the minimum amount of additional liability that people purchase on an umbrella is $1 million. However, it is good practice that the larger the business, the larger the assets, the larger protection that is necessary. So that should come with increased limits of liability, 2 million, 3 million, 4 million, 5 million, etc. This is additional coverage in the event that you are sued for negligence, or the business is sued for negligence, to be more accurate. It goes over the other policies that you have, your general liability or your business owner's policy, which includes your liability, your commercial auto policy. Those policies are called your underlying policies, and your umbrella goes over it. So imagine an umbrella, and the people standing under it would be the underlying policies, and the umbrella itself would be the additional policy going over both of those. Meaning, if a claim is filed against you for negligence for the business, a claim would be filed against the policy that carries the general liability. And then once that is maxed out or the limit is hit, then the umbrella comes in over top of that. And the same is true on the commercial auto side. If a claim is filed against the commercial auto policy, usually in the event that someone's body is harmed and they experience bodily injury, and if the liability limit on the commercial auto is exceeded or maxed out, then the umbrella would come in and kick in for any additional money that needs to be paid out towards that claim. And we'll get into some more examples here in a little bit. The other important piece of information to really know is that personal and commercial umbrellas are different. So what happens is I have clients come in and they're like, well, I have an umbrella that goes over everything that I do, and maybe they're an individual contractor. Well, a personal umbrella does not cover commercial risk, and the opposite is true. So if you have a personal umbrella, that covers you when you are driving your personal vehicle down the road. If you go on a personal vacation and something happens while you're on personal vacation in a rented car, that would follow you for personal use. If you have friends over to your personal home and a claim occurs at your personal home, that's where the personal umbrella would kick in. A commercial umbrella is completely separate. If you are an individual contractor who is building a deck and making money building that deck, you would need a commercial umbrella to follow you for that business risk you are completing, because you are making money on that. A commercial umbrella would follow someone who is driving a commercial or business-owned vehicle. So those are the differences. A personal does not cover a commercial risk, and a commercial umbrella does not cover a personal risk. Keep that in mind. The final thing is I feel like it is easy for clients to look at me and say, I don't think I need that, or I don't want that right now, or maybe we'll hold off for a better time. And because of that, I feel like the overall concept, which we just hit on for a commercial umbrella, is pretty easy to understand. It is an additional policy which carries additional limits of liability for the business. in a nutshell. Anyways, because I feel like that concept is pretty easy to understand, I really want to focus this episode on the benefits of a commercial umbrella and some examples on how an umbrella would actually protect your business. The benefits are basically what we've already said. It is increased liability limits, meaning you have increased financial protection. If a lawsuit or a claim exceeds those underlying limits, the general liability or the commercial auto policies, you as the business owner avoid paying out those additional costs, and it prevents you from potential financial consequences or financial harm, or maybe potentially eliminating the business altogether and you having to close your doors. That's obviously a worst case scenario, but liability claims, while they are rare, they can be very financially consequential in the event when they do happen. So it also kind of under the same umbrella, under financial protection, but it protects your assets, the business assets, the real estate, the equipment, maybe intellectual property, because it prevents you from having to sell off these assets in order to pay for that claim that your underlying policy already maxed out on. It also attracts good business partners. Other businesses want to do business with you when they see that you're willing to protect your business in a comprehensive way. It attracts high value clients. It has the potential to. It's not a guarantee. I better say that just for the sake of doing so. So it has potential to attract good business partners and high value clients, because again, they notice and they recognize that you are willing to protect your business in a fully insured way, I guess, for lack of a better words. Additionally, a lot of individual contractors who are being hired by companies, I see this with people who are doing work inside of other businesses or for other businesses, usually as like subcontractors, they're required to carry an umbrella in order to get some of the jobs that they are trying to contract with. And that is because those other businesses who are hiring you as a subcontractor or who are hiring you to come into their business to do a job, whether it be on the equipment that they have in there, replacing windows or doors, fixing any of their HVAC equipment, whatever it may be, they're going to say, we need proof of your insurance and we require to see X, Y, and Z. And one of those requirements sometimes is an umbrella policy. So in order to get those jobs, you have to have that. And they request that through what's called certificates of insurance, which is usually provided by your insurance agent. The final benefit is peace of mind as a business owner. It just gives you that additional, like, if something happens, I have my limit on my liability policy, which we have talked about in previous episodes. I do encourage you to go back and listen to those. But that limit of liability, the underlying limit is what I was referring to, and the umbrella limit of liability. So, for example, a lot of times the standard limit of liability on a BOP business owner's policy or a GL policy is $1 million. So you would have that $1 million. And then additionally, you would have, if you do the minimum, another $1 million from the umbrella. So in the event a claim is filed against you, you have a total of $2 million in liability coverage. So it just gives you that peace of mind that if a claim is filed against me for negligence in any reason, I have that to protect my business and the financial assets. An important note to really think about is, what is enough insurance? Well, none of us really have the answer to that because we can't predict the future and we don't know what's coming down the pipe. If we could predict the future, none of us would really even need insurance, right? But enough insurance at a minimum is enough to cover the assets of the business and the value of the business as a whole. What is someone, if they come in and sue you, what would deplete your business to have to shut the doors? Like, if someone sued you for $5 million, could your business afford to pay that? If someone sued you for $2 million, Could your business afford to pay that? Or are you selling everything off and then now you're closing up shop? So a good, I guess, unwritten rule to live by is you should have as much liability insurance as you can afford. I know no one likes to pay insurance. I get it's kind of like paying for something that you don't usually get a return on. And we hope that you don't have to utilize it because usually that means something bad has happened if you're filed for a claim against your liability. But you want to have that for that protection and peace of mind. Okay, so now let's get into some real world examples. I did pull these examples from a website that I Googled. I'm going to go ahead and give this to you as a reference point. It is paperless-insurance.com is where I obtained these 5 real claims that prove umbrella insurance works. That's the title of their article on paperless-insurance.com. So I do want to give credit where credit is due there. And just to set the stage, they are saying basically going out there and saying, say you have a BOP or a business owner's policy, which has $1 million of liability on it, or separately a commercial auto policy with a base liability of $1 million. And if a claim is filed against you for $1.5 million, what happens to that other $500,000? Well, if you do not have an umbrella, the business has to pay that out of pocket. If you do have an umbrella, the umbrella picks up where the underlying BOP or GL policy ends. So the underlying business owner's policy or general liability policy is maxed out for the full $1 million liability limit. The $500,000 remaining would come from the commercial umbrella at that time. So real world example number 1, again, coming from paperlessinsurance.com, faulty wiring as a tech manufacturer. Let's say a small tech company, they make, a small tech company makes parts for smart devices. And one of their parts turns out to be defective and causes devices to explode. A huge claim then occurs against the general liability policy for $2 million. But their liability underlying limit was not enough. And without the umbrella insurance, the remaining costs could shut down the company. So if we're going back to that BOP, $1 million underlying, and the claim was filed against them for $2 million, that means the business would have to pay out of pocket that additional $1 million to pay out the total liability claim of $2 million. All right, next example, delivery gone wrong as a florist. Flower shop employee is out there delivering flowers and causes a serious motorcycle accident while making those deliveries. The injured motorcyclist sues for millions, and the business auto liability coverage gets maxed out quickly because remember, we previously said the underlying commercial auto policy only has $1 million liability limit. So any million, it says millions in the example, anything over that $1 million would be the business responsibility. If you only have $1 million on the umbrella, this is an example where increased over the minimum requirements would come in, because if it's millions, and let's say they're sued for $3 million, I'm using that as an example, then $1 million from the underlying, $1 million from the umbrella, that still leaves the business paying out $1 million. Again, this goes back to you should have as much insurance as you can afford. Hot coffee is the third real world example. The stage is set in a busy coffee shop, and the server spills hot coffee on the customer, and the customer receives third-degree burns and permanent scarring. Medical bills, legal fees, and emotional distress pile up into a claim that exceeds the general liability coverage of $1 million. And without that umbrella, or with the umbrella, the cafe would avoid financial collapse, as long as the umbrella is enough additional to cover that total cost. The fourth real world example would be apartment security fail as a landlord. Within the apartment building, a faulty back door lock lets an intruder in, and that intruder then assaults a tenant. The tenant, who is the victim, sues the building owner for negligence, and it is a multi-million-dollar case. The landlord could lose everything without additional umbrella coverage for that liability. Final example that paperlessinsurance.com gives is the salon slip up. A hairstylist accidentally trips a senior client with a hairdryer cord. The woman's injuries are serious and she sues for nearly $2 million. The salon's general liability policy only covers $1 million. Without the umbrella coverage, they would be responsible for the additional $1 million coverage. If they have a $1 million umbrella, then that would cover the full $2 million filed against them. So, in a nutshell, this is an umbrella policy, the benefits, and some real-world examples to help you understand how an umbrella policy would work and kick in. Thank you, paperlessinsurance.com, for those easy examples. You can go see those and read those there as well. Again, just want to make sure I'm giving credit where credit is due on that front. So again, please reach out to your local agent to have a conversation with them about an umbrella policy if you do not currently have one, or reviewing the limits on your current policy. And of course, as always, if you need our help or you would like us to review, please do not hesitate to give us a call at 812-932-2200, and have a blessed day, everybody. Thank you all for listening today. We hope you found this episode helpful and informative as you navigate the world of insurance. As a reminder, this podcast is never for legal or professional advice, and you should always consult your local and licensed insurance professional. We wish you a week filled with love and blessings from the team at Odyssey Insurance and Investment.